Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the February 23rd, 2017 Delaware County Board of Commissioners meeting. And if everyone could join me in the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. Farzana Ahmed, our County Administrator, and our Clerk today is Sarah DeNova. So we can start.
Resolution number 17-184, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held February 16, 2017.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-184. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment today. Resolution number 17-185, in the matter of approving purchase orders that announce certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CMA PR 0222 and procurement card payments in batch numbers PCA PR 0222.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-185. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-186, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-186. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye. Sorry.
Resolution number 17-187, in the matter of accepting the Treasurer's report for the month of January 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I just want to make one quick comment. Treasurer Peterson continues to do an excellent job. However, interestingly, the yield went down from December to January on the total portfolio from 1.12 to 1.02. The reason is we're starting to get tax payments in January, and that gets dumped into a short-term fund, which balloons the fund and reduces the rate overall in the portfolio. Individually, the portfolio components are increasing, but overall, because of the shift in the mix, the portfolio yield went down just a little bit. So, anyway. Just in case anybody had noticed, if we're cared. Again, Treasurer Peterson continues to do a good job of managing the money. But again, this January, February, March time frame, and then June, July, August, we get this bulge in tax receipts, and it does different things to the yield. So anyway, vote.
Vote on motion 17-187. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-188, in the matter of extending the filing date for the filing of plans, reports, and schedules for the Rybov number 620 watershed drainage improvement petition.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-188. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-189, in the matter of approving a new fund, a new organization key, and a supplemental appropriation for the Domestic Relations Court.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Didn't know if you...
Since I'm here, I'll take the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be in front of you.
Introduce yourself. Just
I'm sorry. Randy Fuller, Judge of the Domestic Relations Court here in Delaware. And it's a pleasure to be in front of you for the first time as a judge. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But these are both funds that are created by the court and that come from court costs. The appropriations is for the guardian ad litem account, which pays for guardian ad litems when the parties are indigent and cannot pay for them. The second is just a computerization fund. The General Division has this already, and they were charging on DR cases. But since the new DR court was created, we need to create the fund just for the DR cases for the court fund.
Great.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Judge.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll take a vote.
Vote on motion
Wait, I'm sorry.
Could you just introduce Denise, please?
Thank you. I had planned to do that, but I forgot when I forgot to introduce
that's
myself.
all right. That's okay.
I think you all know my court administrator, Denise Martin, but I'd like to introduce her formally to the Board of Commissioners. Thanks to you guys, I was able to hire her mid-December last year, and she has been a great asset to this court so far. It's taken a great burden off of me, and we were able to make a lot of progress in working forward and developing the court. Although I will tell you, unfortunately, the bad news, I think we discussed during the budget talks, we're kind of taking a step backwards before we take steps forward because we don't have enough space to hire all the employees We're understaffed until we get over to the new court, which hopefully will be in July.
Yes, great. And I know that she has great experience, too, former prosecutor.
Yes. Of Marion for, was it 9 years? 8 years as assistant prosecutor up there on felony cases.
Yes.
Brings a great deal of knowledge to the job.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Just, how are things going? I mean, you said you're a little understaffed
Yes.
and so on.
Things are going as well as can be expected. Quite honestly, this process is more involved than I even realized when you and I were talking. We're creating local court rules. We're using court rules from other counties and some that were in Delaware County before, but there's 50-so pages of court rules that we have to put together and adopt. There's local court policies for personnel, which Denise has done a wonderful job of putting that together, and they're over at the prosecutor's office now. We used a lot of the counties, but there's some specific for the court that needed to be fine-tuned, and she's done a great job with that. So just the overall creating this court it has been a tremendous undertaking and a little more work than I thought, but we're making great progress, and we will be ready to move into the new court when it's ready and be up and running at that time. We're hoping to implement new changes before then, to try to create efficiencies in the divorce and the post-decree actions by creating less hearings and trying to get the cases done more timely. But we can't fully implement that until we get fully staffed.
Well, we appreciate your patience and everyone else's patience as we get the building ready to go.
Yes.
Sure. Thanks for coming.
Oh, thank you.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-189. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-190, resolution of necessity for purchase or lease of automobile for the use of the county dog warden and his employees.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Morning, Brian Gallagher, Director of Safety and Security. This is a budgeted item that's replacing a well-loved vehicle that's got over 200,000 miles on it.
That vehicle will come out of service?
Yes.
It's out of service, yeah.
Do you pick up the dogs in this vehicle?
It will, yes. I don't, but
Or you
the
don't,
assistant wardens do,
but
correct.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-190. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Resolution number
Excuse me, may I? So, Commissioner, if I may, I just wanted to welcome you back.
Oh, thank you.
Just came back from 2 weeks military service overseas. Thank you for your continued service.
Thank you. Thank you. I was over in England for a couple of weeks. It was a big exercise. Remember whenever the general was here, Scott Barati?
Yes.
It was an exercise that he talked about whenever he was doing his discussions, austere challenge. So I was a part of that exercise. So I got to see him on the other side on video teleconferences, but I didn't get up and say, "Hey, sir, remember me?" It was it's a long exercise, a lot of hours, but I learned a lot, so it was good.
Great.
Great, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your service, as Farazan said. Okay, vote.
Resolution number 17-191, in the matter of approving the print service rental agreement between MT Technologies Incorporated, the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and Delaware County Adult Probation.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Good morning, Joe Perry, Chief Probation Officer, Adult Court Services. This is just a renewal contract for our copier service with Adult Court Services.
Comments?
Well, the other thing I would say is I made a comment last week that I will support this, but that we will have something in place going forward, so we asked the administrator to look into that, just a reminder.
Okay, sure. Right.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Lewis?
Well, just that we have to make those moves first, because in the meantime, people have to order things, so.
I think it's a 1 year, just a 1 year renewal.
right,
We actually
it's
got
a
a better
1 year.
rate than we had last year, and it's a better rate than what the sheriff's office has.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is what it is when you do it on your own. If we go in together and do it as a whole county, I'm sure we'll get a better deal, but.
A couple questions. Did you try to find a state or a regional buying program to acquire copiers?
No. We only have one copier, so
Yeah.
the other ones we own. That was the one we do on a rental. So.
Right. Well, I know I mentioned last week, Engineer Houseman does an excellent job, and I think the sheriff has used some, and others have used statewide buying programs just on their own initiative, just to save money, so I was curious if you had looked at...
No, we have not.
Did you bid it out? Did you?
No, we did not. I don't know that we have in the past. I'm not sure that we need to on this with the low amount.
Well, I'm not saying it's required.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's good
Well, even the
practice.
comparison shop, and I'm all for comparison shop, and we do that on our drug testing kits. We do that on a lot of other items in our office. With our copier, though, I know that MT is used by other departments or a lot of departments in the county, and I'm satisfied with their service. They're great. We call them now, and they'll be here this afternoon or first thing in the morning. They're quick. They're good. I don't have any problem with their service. We got a better deal per copy than we did last year. I mean, I'm totally satisfied with them. And again, I'm not against comparison shopping, but if I would even get a better rate from somewhere else, just because I'm saving money doesn't mean I'm getting better quality product. And MT's always been an excellent service for us, so that's why we use them.
Okay. I wrestle with this because 6 or 8 months ago, we had another one of these contracts in place or presented to us, and at that time, we said we're going to go forward with centralized purchasing of routine stuff, and fast forward 6 or 8 months, nothing happened.
Still doing it.
And again, I don't want to place that on your table, but
I get it, yeah.
again, the county is not effectively taking advantage of our buying power, and that is not good stewardship of our taxpayers' money.
But just to clarify, it's not directed at you, it's just
Right.
conceptually countywide. You just happen to be the one that has copies, so...
Hey, trust me, I'll go in with the whole county. I'm not going to separate my department from everybody else. We go along together. I'm in, obviously, I'm in. But again, I try to work out the best deal I can, just being my department with one copier. I don't know how much leeway I got to get a better deal. I think they were very generous in what they offered us, and again, it's a better deal than we had last year, so we...
Is the plan to get the other office holders in on this, or just...
I think what we asked, or what my expectation was that our administrator would look into some purchasing countywide, and certainly copiers being a significant purchase that a lot of departments make. In my years in the private sector, there's a lot that goes into getting copiers as far as how the agreements are set up, whether you lease or whether you buy, and all these things. And I think if we have some sort of concentrated effort in going about that, we ought to be able to get better rates. We ought to be able to get better service. If you're servicing the whole county and you have all the copiers for the county, you ought to be able to get better service. You ought to be able to get better rates to it. But when we do it individually, the way we're doing it currently, we don't put ourselves in a position to get that.
Is the thought to ask other offices, like the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's office, to possibly...
If we're going to make
rather than just our
purchasing
departments.
economical or of cost savings to the county, it's got to be countywide, and all the elected officials have to buy into that.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what our county administrator will be looking into.
Yeah, we'll have to check with the other...
The county's gotten big enough, we need to
Yeah,
kind of change the way we do some of that. That's my view, and
we can...
And I look at this as I guess it's an agreement or a contract, but if that happens next month or in 3 months, I don't think MT would have any problem adjusting my contract to fit everyone else's. So, it is a contract, and we got to have a signature to go forward, but I don't think they're going to hold us to that if the whole county decides to go into one agreement.
I don't see us getting out of any obligations we currently have, whatever the length of those are, but at some point, you've got to start the transition.
Well, if mine is 1 year and expires in February, and the sheriff's expires in June, how you got to get everybody on the same page at one time to be, if you're going year to year, again, that's what I'm saying, if my contract, if we decide or we get an agreement together, the whole county uses MT and under the same agreement, I don't think MT's going to box, say, oh no, Adult Court Services agreed to
I think
this.
copiers are just one product.
Yeah.
It's not, it just happens to be one that there seems to be some synergies.
Sure.
Add something, Commissioner? Just going to your example, Joe, that's a good example, but let's assume that we have something in place by June. then you would be the outlier, and you would then come into the program when your contract expires.
Okay, yeah, I got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think to Commissioner Merrill's point, that's my whole thing, is one copier contract isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about almost a $200 million business not taking advantage of being a $200 million business and negotiating much better rates. And again, I haven't looked, but I'm confident there are statewide or regional or national buying programs where you don't have to do any work. You just look at these buying opportunities in these co-ops or whatever structure they have, and say, I'll take one of those, and it's significantly cheaper than buying it individually. And that's what we've got to put in place, whether it's going through that or bidding or whatever. And again, I think we can save significant dollars for the county. So I will.
And to a point you made, Joe, it's not all just about lowest bidder. It's also about quality of service.
Right.
We had our copier was down for 3 or 4 days. Not that it's anyone's fault, but that gentleman was responsive. He was here. It took him a while to fix it.
Yes.
But so when you have a copier down, if you only have one in your area, it's important you get it back up quickly.
Yeah.
So service is also part of that.
Sure, it always is. Yeah, quality.
Right.
Okay, so with a pledge from our administrator to truly move forward with a study or plan to take advantage of countywide purchasing, I don't think we'll have any trouble getting the other departments and offices on board, because it just makes sense, and generally it's easier. If you have one online buying program, you just go buy a copier, no negotiating, it's very easy, and so on. So anyway. I guess I'll support it.
So pledged.
All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-191. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Joe.
Resolution number 17-192, in the matter of approving a memorandum of understanding between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, the Delaware County Department of Environmental Services, and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, AFL-CIO.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fromer, Sanitary Engineer. This memo of understanding is just follow-up to the contract, the CBA contract that was renewed at the end of the year, and it just outlines the classifications of employees. We just updated it, and it just helps clarify, director, designee, things of that nature. So.
Vote.
Vote on motion 17-192. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-193, in the matter of approving amendment number 1 to the sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for Glen Mead.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes, Glen Mead is located just south of the new high school, the Olentangy Berlin High School, and they needed to phase it because of the Pyatt Road extension that's kind of going through. So this is just going from an overall development to a 1A and a 1B. So.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-193. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-194, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer subdividers agreement for Liberty Bluff, Sections 1 and 2.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This is just a standard form agreement for the subdividers agreement for Liberty Bluff, Sections 1 and 2, recommended for your approval.
Where is this one?
It is on 315, just north of Nelson Farms area. So
Will it access on Nelson Farms Road, or is there a separate access
there's a separate access
onto 315?
under 315.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-194. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
That brings us to Administrator report.
First of all, a wonderful job done by Director Fromer and Auditor Kaitsa and Assistant Administrator Cy Keeley with the help of our bond counsel and our municipal advisors during our rating calls yesterday for the refinance of Series 2007 sewer bonds. Next step, we'll get our ratings next week sometime, and following that, we just start the process of underwriting and taking it to sale to the market. And I'll keep you apprised of those steps as they happen. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow is the Ohio City County Management Association Annual Conference, and Bob Lamb and I were there yesterday, and Don and Sai are already there, and I'll be going there today. It's a great conference. We had an amazing speaker yesterday. I was telling Commissioner Benton about him, and I'll share some of his thoughts with you and Commissioner Merrill as well later on. He was quite amazing. And the one thing I wanted to mention, I just found out this morning, shout out to our sheriff. It was announced yesterday that the sheriff's dispatchers received the 2016 Double Gold Star Award for team performance on an emergency. So there's this association called APCO, Association of Public Safety Communications Officials. If there is a intense call, then the 911 director would submit that call for a customer service team award. And I believe 44 or 45 entries were submitted, and the sheriff's dispatchers downstairs won, and I think it's quite an accomplishment.
Gee,
Big shout out to our dispatchers and,
Yes.
and to our sheriff.
gee, thanks for letting us know. I didn't realize that.
That it?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Commissioner Lewis?
I went to Community Action, Bridges Community Action, as it is now known, last night, and we had some statistics on what Delaware County residents actually used Community Action for. Most of it was the HEAP, H-E-A-P program, which is heating assistance. And we also have some interesting statistics. Delaware County is so much different, of course, than the other counties in this group. It includes Madison, Union, Champaign, Logan, and Shelby. And as far as population, we're close to 190,000, and the closest one is Union County at 54,000. And also poverty rate, we are the lowest. We have a 4.9 poverty rate. Now, the only problem there is we have more people because we have a greater population, therefore there are more people included in that percentage. The highest poverty rate in the counties was, in this community action, was 16% in Logan. And it's in Champaign.
That's Bell Fountain, isn't it?
That's Bell Fountain, right. Champaign has 13%, Shelby 11%, Madison 11%, Union came in at 8%. So unemployment rate, too, Delaware is the lowest at 3.3%. The highest was Shelby at 4.2%. So had a good meeting last night. A lot of new representatives, which is really good, including a new Delaware County representative. So was a good meeting.
And who would that be in the county?
She was, I can't remember her name.
Sorry.
But someone who, I believe, who has used services within our county. And that's what we're trying to get from all the counties, too. So it's a real mixture of people, both governmental officials, head of JFS, but also residents who have used the services of Community Action, too. So that's it. And other than, I think we're going to mention John Watkins.
Yes.
And when you do, I'll add something
Okay.
there.
I have 4 things, and I'll wait on John as
Okay.
well. Regional planning is tonight at 6:30, so just a reminder to everybody that I know we look forward to that every month.
Seems to come quickly.
My compliments to Farzan and my compliments to Dave from JFS. I had a fairly long voicemail yesterday from a granddaughter trying to take care of her grandparents, and she was very genuine, very serious, and very eloquent, and the issues that appear to have been valid, and I believe it's already been addressed. So my compliments to David and Farzan for taking care of that, and as I told you this morning when I called, so I think things are taken care of. I just want to say I appreciate a granddaughter taking care of her grandparents. I thought that was
Yes.
worth noting in this day and age. That's not always the case. A couple of things for discussion. We deliberately did not include the grants, county grants that we do to various nonprofits, and because of the budget, and we were going to defer until after the first of the year. So I guess just to give our county administrator some direction, one, do we want to do that this year? Two, if we are going to do it, we probably need to get on with it.
Yes.
We typically have those meetings in March, distribute or make it known
We
in
have the letters.
So we're into February now.
Right. It's near the end of
I'm just opening
February.
it up for discussion.
I would definitely want to go ahead with the community enhancement grants. We do have the money. We were being conservative just to make sure everything was.
It was close at the end.
Yeah, we needed some final figures, and when we did pass the budget, which we now have. So I definitely would favor moving ahead. I'm glad you brought it up, though. That's good.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a...
So I would ask that we just ask the county administrator to start that coordination, identifying a date, obviously letting it be known to the community, and the dollar figure, maybe make a recommendation to what that dollar figure should be based on our financial situation.
Sure.
And what we've done in the past.
Sure.
I'll report back on Monday. Sorry, excuse me,
Great.
with a plan of action.
Great. Thank you.
And one other thing, and this, I did not have time to read it in its entirety, although I did catch one typo, and I want to reread it, but the Medicare, Medicaid, the question I have, the ones I have seen from the other counties to express their disappointment in the way the state's handling this has been in the form of a letter versus ours is in the form of a resolution. And the question, I don't have the answer, is it more impactful in the form of a resolution as we've done this, or more impactful in the form of a letter? Does anyone have an opinion? Because I personally like the letter better. The ones I've seen have been letter form. It's basically just taking what's here and putting in a letter, but I don't know if I'm right, so I'm just opening up for discussion.
We can call on our
expert writer.
It feels like a resolution would carry more on, but if you're concerned about, I guess, what that implies in terms of commitment to the, what you're stating, I haven't seen what's been prepared, but it seems to me a resolution might catch their attention a bit more.
I don't have the answer. The ones I have seen from other counties all have been in the form of a letter signed by the commissioners.
Oh.
And I assume after it's been approved.
Yeah.
But I'm not suggesting that's the best. I just thought we need to get some clarity because we need to get this done.
Right.
I assume this will be on our agenda for Monday in some form.
To sign the letters, and that in itself requires a
A
resolution.
resolution.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they...
Oh, that's a good...
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess we could just move forward with either the letter or the resolution. That's, I do think, with, this goes to state representatives and senators, so they are more used to letters than resolutions, but yet, are they going to pay more attention to a resolution? I don't know.
I don't, my gut feeling is,
They will have the public, right?
The public, yeah. That's,
I think a letter just is better to present. I mean, it's on letterhead, and it looks cleaner than a resolution, but to somebody's point, we got to have a resolution to have the letter.
and maybe we do it in both formats.
Yeah.
That way,
Yeah, why don't we
whichever one's
do
more
it?
appropriate,
That's a
it's
good
been
idea.
prepared.
Right.
It's basically said the same thing.
right.
With taking some of the whereas out of it, obviously in the letter, but I just we need to get this voted on fairly quickly.
Right.
I think we're all disappointed in the budget. I don't want to speak for anyone else. I'm disappointed in the governor's budget and how this is being addressed. The state's taking care of itself through additional fee to these groups, but doesn't feel the obligation to
Right.
take care of the counties.
I don't think it's a fair solution
And
that the state has
And
proposed.
I'm sure somebody will be irritated with this statement, but I really don't care. To suggest to the counties that we can raise our sales tax to make up a difference, but the state refuses to address it through a tax increase, I think is disingenuous. And that's, I'm speaking for Gary Merrill, I'm not speaking for my fellow commissioners. So hopefully we can have that,
Yep.
the vote on Monday.
Should we pass a resolution right now? Do you have the resolution that we can
I
pass?
think we'd be better off waiting for a
Okay,
final
just Monday.
version.
Jenny's
On
working
Monday.
on
Okay, sure, Monday.
Jenny's got a sample resolution, excuse me, which I will give to you guys today. And we can also
Okay.
look at a sample letter and then...
Okay, and then Monday vote. Okay, sounds good.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, just a couple other things. I want to compliment Mike Fromer, I guess, there, still here, on the sewer plan. This is a long-awaited
Yes.
document that we saw the final product just a couple of days ago. So again, I know Mike and his team have spent lots and lots of hours on it, and it gives us great direction on where the sewer department and sanitation is going, which is something we've needed for a long time, and it's a great work product, and I want to compliment Mike and his team for working on that and getting it done. Because again, as we all know, as where sewer goes, that's how the county grows and develops. So it's very critical. It's got some great financial analysis and planning, and again, it's a great roadmap for the county's future growth for the next really couple decades. So again, compliments to the team. We'll spend some time looking at it, and we'll bring it to the board for approval formally later, maybe another couple of weeks. But again, did want to mention that also Suzanne Delaney had some emergency eye surgery last week, and she is out of commission for, unfortunately, quite a while. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 months, I think, before she'll be back reading and at work. And as many of us know Suzanne, and
Yes.
she's the executive director of the CCAO, and a Delaware County resident and a Finance Authority board member. So she's greatly contributing to Delaware County in so many ways, and we wish her a speedy recovery and get back as soon as she possibly can.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, she is just totally dedicated and such a hard worker in everything that she does, heading the executive director of the State Organization of County Commissioners, and then she asked to be on the Finance Authority, which we gladly approved. With her expertise, she'll help the Financial Authority a lot with her guidance. But yes, she did have to have emergency surgery, and so we wish her well, a very speedy recovery.
I think she has to, I think it correctly, she has to basically lay in a prone position for a time here during the healing process. I don't think it's appropriate to go into details of what the surgery was, but it's
Very delicate eye
very delicate
surgery.
operation, and she does a great job, and I think she does a great job representing her county. We're
She
lucky
does,
to have her in
she
that
does.
capacity, and I wish her well, and
Yes.
I'm sending her a get well card this evening. I have her address, and I
Yes.
think you two have it as well. Do you have her address? If not, I'll make it available to you.
No, that would be
That'd be
great if
great.
you could get it.
And,
to us.
so you can send her a card if
Yes,
you
because I have
choose.
to get a card, too.
Yeah, so again, best wishes to Suzanne. We've got MODE event, the Mid-Ohio Development whatever the E stands for, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's an economic development group that Bob Lamb is on the board of. We've got an incentive, economic incentive meeting tomorrow. Bob is not going, so he'll be at the city-county thing. But Jenna will be there, and I'm going to be going, so I'm looking forward to that. It's in Gahanna. Friday afternoon, we've got the DMM HRSB,
Gee.
Delaware Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board meeting with the legislators, which should be very interesting, given the topics we've been talking about and some of the other topics that we
Yes.
want to talk to our legislators about. That's tomorrow afternoon at Source Point. And then we also have John Watkins. We wanted to remember John, who he passed away suddenly over the weekend. And
Last Thursday.
was it last Thursday? Okay. And John, I think many of us knew John, and
Yes.
shocked to hear the news and very saddened. And he's just a great guy, and we're going to miss him. He was a former Marion County Commissioner. He's been a Delaware County resident for a long time, and his family's been involved, and he's been engaged in Central Committee and so many other things in the community that the ag community in particular, and just a great guy that will be missed, and I'm sure we'll have some sort of honoring in the near future. But that's all I've got, and I think we're...
Yes, go ahead. Well, I just, we were very surprised and saddened with John's passing, and I remember meeting John at his farm, actually, when we were on a soil and water tour, and he was, they brought us there to show the innovative farming that he was actually doing. But I guess I'd actually met him before that, but then saw him there, and then we needed someone on our Delaware, Knox, Madison, Morrow recycling solid waste board, and so I asked John if he would be on that board. Remember, Jane? And then you contacted him, and I contacted him, and we found out that he actually had formed that board. And so he was on the policy committee, specifically with Jane and I, on that board, and so we just had a meeting in January. He waited to go to Florida so he could be at our meeting in January. That's the kind of guy John was. I mean, first accepting that assignment, because we have to do an extensive policy review, and so said, okay, I'll do it, and then to actually stick around here and just to go to that meeting. But everyone there, too, really enjoyed meeting him. A lot of, some of the gentlemen knew him already. The treasurer of DKMM actually went to the same high school where John taught. And so, I mean, it was just, it was a great meeting because he got to talk. When you know John, he knows so much. He loves to meet people, talk with them, and everybody had some connection with him. It was amazing. So he's going to be really missed by so many people for so many reasons.
My comments are, not only did he talk, I thought he had a wonderful persona.
Yes.
A smile, and
yes.
My first opportunity to meet John was back when I was running for office, doing my door-to-door, and we probably talked for 20, 30 minutes in his driveway by his log cabin, and he just was a wonderful, wonderful guy, and he passed away in Florida.
Yes, he did.
And we have lost a number of really quality people in our county over the last 12 to
yes.
months plus, and John certainly is in that group.
Yes.
And it was a shock and a surprise when I learned it last Friday, and he will be missed, and I look forward to us in some form honoring him in session in the next few days. Hopefully a family member can be here. But he needs to be acknowledged for all he's done, and not only for our county, but for Marion. In fact, we might want to invite Marion here as maybe at least their commissioners.
That's right.
So with that, that's all I have. But I did.
Yes, John, good guy, and will be missed. We have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 17-195, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment of a public employee or public official for pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 17-195. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session.